Ah! This bum getting free as well. I got a whole other one of those in there.
A whole
Crazy.
other... Yeah.
Whole other shawarma, dude.
Whole other shawarma.
My life. I don't think my life could get better right now. I'm
No.
here. I'm hanging out with my best friend in the world. I'm eating shawarma. I that's a lie. It could be a little better. I could not be locked in an oven.
Yeah.
But aside from that, really good. There could be any wind. I really wish that the gods didn't steal the wind from me.
Yeah. You're indoors, though. Do you want wind indoors? Do you think that that's a bottle we should open? Do you think that that's
I have windows open. Hey, you know, wind can go through windows, right? I don't have them open right now, admittedly.
Yeah.
But when I did, there was no wind. I think you
so
fucking
you
start with me.
locked the wind out, is what happened. You closed your doors.
There wasn't
to the
any wind outside. You're not listening
wind
to me.
The wind is trying to get in. And
No, it's not.
It wasn't.
It wasn't there before.
I'm here.
And I closed the window because outside is where all the noise and the policemen honking their disgusting sirens are.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to record my goofy little show.
Yeah, and the wind is hanging out with them. And that's problem. That's
problematic.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
Really
we should cancel the wind, actually.
We should cancel the wind. I think that's what's happening, and I think that's now why you're so hot in your little oven.
Because you
canceled the wind.
I was the one that stole the wind from me. It was on principle.
You stole your own wind.
Okay.
That's staying in. It's a cold open, episode 1.
Jesus. Okay.
Why are we
All
here?
right. Hi! I'm going to switch up the intro, actually. I'm not going to do my hello, beautiful, wonderful people. I'm just going to say hi like a normal person.
Ooh.
Hi! No. Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. Hi, how's it going? Welcome to the first ever episode of Dorkspawn, which is our official name, correct? I didn't just wreck our whole shit. It is Dorkspawn. My name is Robin, and I have not played a Dragon Age game. I almost said Dark Souls. Not played a Dragon Age game before.
Have you played a Dark Souls game?
I played every Dark Souls game.
You were gonna lie. You were just gonna lie. You were gonna start this podcast based on a
It's
lie.
because it's Darkspawn, so I was gonna say my mind was locked in the dark.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say Dark Souls. That would be crazy if we do this to play every Dragon Age, and then afterwards I get you to play any Dark Souls game. That wouldn't work even a little bit.
Bad fucking chance.
Yeah. They're great games, but they're not your shit.
Likely.
They are like anti-Dillin games.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, you
Hello,
floob.
I'm Dillin, and I've played every Dragon Age game at least 5 times. I've brought my credentials with me, which is all of my encyclopedias of the Dragon Age
Oh my
games.
god, you actually have encyclopedias.
I do.
Are they walkthroughs? Or are they just like world building things?
So one of them is actually just like, these are just a collection of 3 books bound together that take place
What
in the
books
universe.
though? Are they lore books?
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
This is the Silent Grove, Those Who Speak, and Until We Sleep, which is a lot of content in like the backstory of like between Origins and Dragon Age 2. And then this is a timeline world building book, The World of Thetis, that I will be using for references at points during this podcast, probably.
Huge.
Huge.
Oh my
It
God.
is. It is huge.
Yes. Welcome to Dorkspawn, a Dragon Age book club where the pair of us, and hopefully also you, are going to play through the Dragon Age franchise pseudo chapter by chapter, and then we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the chapters are. Dillin has an idea of what the chapters are going to be. So at the end of each episode, you're going to say, and next time we are going to play till this point.
Correct.
And then we'll stop there.
Yeah.
Today will be a pretty easy breezy episode, or so you might think, because baby, it's so easy today. Dylan, would you want to tell people where we played up to, or where I guess chapter 1 kind of comes to a close, and what we'll be talking about today.
Yeah, so for chapter 1, this is we're starting with Dragon Age Origins, and we are starting from basically completing the entire origin up to the battle against the Darkspawn that happens after the joining. So yeah, that's it.
So when I said I've never played a Dragon Age game, that is a lie. I lied to you. The first thing I ever did was lie to you. I have played up to
you
Denerim.
lie to me all the time.
I lie to you every day. I'm talking to the audience.
Oh.
I have played up to Denerim in Origins, which I streamed many years ago, so I remember barely anything. And then I played Inquisition up till genuinely the final mission, and then I also stopped because, again, I was streaming, and because of that, I don't think I've played the games. I have entertained whilst I've had the games on. Like, when I stream, I don't do all the shit that I would normally do in a video game. I don't do every side quest. I don't, like, you know, I don't role play in games as much as I normally do. I don't make wildly crazy choices that most people would never pick, which is what I do normally. If I'm like, yeah, but the character would do that and it's an interesting route, I want to go down that. I don't normally do that when I stream. So technically, I haven't played the games.
Yeah.
I know.
When you say the last mission, up to the last mission in Inquisition, you mean the fight with Corypheus, right?
I don't know who that is. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to... It's hard for me to... Because people might be listening to this also never having played a Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
And they might be in my position where if I was to say stuff, they'll be like, okay, well, that's a spoiler for literally the last mission.
Yeah.
But it's like... A certain person opens a portal. The romance that I had was completed. Like, I had the last scene of that. And I think it was the last mission of the base game. And I know that that's nothing to go on, but I'm really trying to make
nothing.
It big.
And I don't think you've played the last mission. So I think you're starting totally fresh, and that's what I'm here to fix.
Beautiful.
For you. So
Nice.
we started Dragon Age Origins.
Yes.
So, and we haven't talked about what we've done in the game so far, which literally was just us playing yesterday. And so now I've played Origins. I've probably played every Origin in Dragon Age Origins, like about probably, twice over. But my goal here is that we're going to play this until Dragon Age 4 comes out. And when Veilgaurd comes out, like, we'll have finished the 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I've taken this to be that this is going to be my canon world state when I play Veilgaurd.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, a little bit of housekeeping. We've started playing Origins, which takes place in the year 930 in the Age of the Dragon.
Holy shit. Rock hard right now. That shit was dope. Let's do it. 930?
930, 9:30 in the Age of the Dragon. And we know that Veilgaurd is starting in the year 944 in the Age of the Dragon. So we are starting 23 years ago. That is where we are in the Dragon Age universe.
Wait, did you say that Origins was in 930 and Veilguard's in 944 and then said that they were 24 years ago? That's 14.
Oh, sorry. 953. 944. 944 is Trespasser. Sorry. 953. 953.
Oh, okay.
Yes. 953 is the year that Veilgaurd is starting in.
That's awesome. That's so fun.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. I think that the year is really exciting to me because like this is 23 years is like the whole span of this story taking place, and there's a lot of overlap that happens across the games, which is also really cool and fun. And that's why I want us to decide in canon how old our characters are. So that we will know
so
how
cool.
old they will be should they survive when Veilgaurd starts.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, first things first, who's your character? Who are you bringing in to this world?
So, I have brought in Valeria. I have brought in Valeria, who is a dwarven noble lady in the noble class in Ostagar. She is about, I'm going to say she's pretty young. I'm going to say she's like 18, 19 years old. Because
How old do dwarves live in this world? You said you were a dwarven noble, right? That was the path you took?
Yes.
Yeah. So how old do dwarves normally live?
That's a really good question. I actually don't know that off the top of my head. Are you allowing me a quick Google?
Yeah, all
Will
day.
you allow that? Okay.
You're grand. So, you know what? No, I want you to finish talking about your guy before we hard switch over to my guy.
Humanish lifespans for
Okay. Oh,
for
sure.
dwarves.
Fascinating. Didn't know that.
Yep. So I'm thinking she's like 18, 19, because what's going on is that she, like at the start of this story where we meet her, she is born into the family Idukin of wealthy royal family, daughter of the leader of Orzammar. I said Ostagar, I meant Orzammar. And it is the day that she is leading her first mission as like captain of the guard in this new position down in the deep roads. And obviously in taking on that position, there's some gruff from her two brothers. One of her brothers is set to inherit the throne from their father. Apparently Orzammar has misogyny because women cannot be on the throne, but they can be captains of the guard. So it's like mixed bag of misogyny. Sure. So she's taking up this leadership role in the army essentially. And dwarves in their culture, they go into the deep roads and they fight Darkspawn. It's like their thing. That's what they do. Darkspawn being these like reanimated corpses kept alive by poisoned archdemon blood.
Now, actually,
being
this is
undead
great
dragons.
Because I have a lot of notes.
Okay.
I have a heap of notes. Specifically, I have there's one line that I think it was magic users wanted to usurp the heavens and instead destroyed it. Is that propaganda or is that real fact?
Oh, baby. What a question. What a question that's not going to get answered today.
Perfect. My second one.
Scholars have tried to answer.
And we will be aforementioned Dragon Age scholars by the time this is done. Part 2 of this, are Darkspawn people? Are they people who have been corrupted and poisoned? Or are they, because in Lord of the Rings, the orcs and the Uruk-hai are people, elves and humans who have been corrupted.
Yeah.
To the point where that's what they are. Is that the same for Darkspawn?
Yes. There's like a slight discrepancy that I think happens across some of the games, but yes, at large, that's the answer.
I have part 2, and this is gonna just slot in. It's gonna we're gonna branch off in just terms of conversation because I have something to add just before you start going into the origin of your character, the prologue. So, I have played this game. I have done the opening of this game twice. Okay. I'm going to just really quickly say what my character is going forward. The first time I played it, I wanted to play a blood mage. So I was magic because I think mages in this world sound really interesting and blood magic sounds really interesting. So I wanted a character who their whole thing was do bad people turn to blood magic, or does blood magic make you bad? And the reason why I think blood magic in this story is so interesting, because I think it tries to do... So it does what, for example, most people try to do with necromancy. Is like for example, Dungeons and Dragons, necromancy is just a thing. It's like, oh, this person's a necromancer, but it's not necessarily ever super, super bad. It's just kind of a thing that exists in the world. But in this, blood mages are bad, almost universally, and I thought that was so cool. However, so also, the second time I went through it is making this current character, because I wanted to do that same story. I never got to finish it, and I thought it was really interesting, so I wanted to go for it. However, I was like, how am I supposed to talk about like this wouldn't be a book club where we're talking and we're like, you know, discussing the whole thing if I only had one perspective of the opening. So yesterday I spent 8 hours playing every single prologue for every single origin. And I have a lot of notes and feelings about it. And the reason why I bring it up is because I will skip to the end, because Pastry, the dwarf noble that I made,
Stop it.
That is my favorite opening, I think. That fucking rules.
Yeah.
The two dwarf openings are so good.
They're really good.
They're so good. And it's crazy because the Circle Mage story sucks ass.
It sucks. The Circle Mage story
boring.
is the worst origin.
It's
worst
so
one.
boring.
The worst one. It's so boring.
It's
boring.
Infuriating. So I've made 8 characters, and I know there's only 7 openings.
Right.
But I did City Elf twice, because I did one as a guy, one as a girl, because it's so different that it might as well be a complete origin thing.
Yeah. That is the trigger warning, traumatizing.
Holy shit.
Origin.
Actually, I tell you what, because Dwarf Noble doesn't... Actually, no, it's not even Dwarf... Both of the dwarves also have pretty hard, like, being a woman sucks. I have... My note here says, being a woman sucks. What is this, Fallout 2? Because Fallout 2,
that's
if you play a woman in it...
Fallout 2 fans in the house.
Yeah, boo, 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 boo. Because that shit sucks. Okay, so I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the Dwarf Noble origin, because I think it's...
Yeah, and that's what we're both going with? We're both doing Dwarf Noble?
No, I've done all of them, but I have made a character for each one, because I was like, I want to know what is going to be most interesting. Do you want me to want me to continue with Pastry the Dwarf Noble? Because I will.
Are you telling me right now that you don't know which character you're finishing this game with?
No, I'm pretty sure I want to go with the Blood Mage. I'm almost 100% certain, but I wanted to start as everyone and finish up until you go to... And up until Duncan leaves. Also, you'd be so glad to know. I played this game. I played the prologue twice. I fucking hate Duncan. I hate Duncan, and Dillin is so mad at me. I have played now every single opening. Duncan fucking rules. I love that guy.
Duncan is your buddy.
I fucking love that guy.
Duncan is there for you.
Because in the Circle Mage thing, he turns up and then is like he gets you out of like a small scrape and then is like, hey, kill yourself, and it sucks. And I'm like, who is this guy? However, again, in the city, specifically the female city elf origin, Duncan pulls through in a crazy way.
Yeah.
He is fully like, we'll talk about it.
Duncan is a knight.
When we go
Duncan
through.
is a, like, your chivalrous knight.
He's a good dude. I'm a fan of Duncan.
Yeah.
But he comes later.
He comes
later. So, I played a female dwarf noble, as I'm sure you also did, because you said she at some point when you were describing her. So, yes, you are going on this big mission to go fight the Darkspawn because you're becoming the commander. Lord Commander, is it called?
No, that's Templars. You're just becoming the commander. And in this like journey to it, there are a couple of things that you can do beforehand. You can to like show what kind of character you are, like who you are. So, did you go to the merchants tables?
I have it underlined. I got a sick ass lightning dagger.
You did.
I got the dopest shit. So I played a warrior fighter on most of these runs because it's so beefy and it's easy to clean through stuff. But specifically, Pastry was a dual wielding fighter. So when I got that so fucking sexy lightning dagger, I was super stoked.
Yeah. Then did you go to the proving?
Oh, I kicked the hell out of everyone
and
at
you
the
did
proving.
the proving. Yeah.
I did the proving. I kept the crown at the end, or like whatever, the helm.
I gave it to the finalist before me.
That fucking traitor. Let's go into that in a second. I fucking hate that dude. I got so mad. This is the best.
I know.
I'm very excited about it. So, the reason why, out of all of them, I think both of the dwarf things are the most interesting is because I know that you go back to Ozima because I went back there, and they leave you huge connections in just people to go back to and people to go and like be excited to be like, oh, I'm excited to see who you are later in this story. Whereas mages, I don't think get it. You get like your friend who's just a guy, but I think he's just a guy, and I don't know. I'm less excited to go see him.
You don't get your connection from the Mage Circle Tower backstory when you go back to the Circle Tower. Your big connection happens when you meet Liam O'Brien again later in the Fade. So that's when you're going to have your backstory connection.
My first note of starting, aside from being a woman sucks, is the guy who's like your friend through it. What's his name? Begins with a G.
Oh, I don't remember or carry.
Every dwarf is a scumbag. Is what I've learned in this game because everyone in the common story.
Oh, you mean in the Dwarven Noble?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Gorim.
Gorim
and my character are in love. They're fucking.
Because he did come in and say, oh, my lady, and blah, 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 and then was like, I want to fucking see you naked. And I was like, hey, bud, I don't know who the fuck you are. Aren't you supposed to be, like, my note is met by the least professional man I've ever seen.
Oh,
I am a noble, and you come in,
very
nice.
We're in love. Gorim and I.
Well, I didn't know him. Also, what I didn't realize is if you take his sword off, he can't re-equip it, which is a fun little thing. He's actually not strong enough to wield his own sword because I wanted to move his sword to my thing because I didn't have a second weapon before going into the proving. And then he just couldn't pick it up. So in all of the fights later, he was just punching the hell out of guys.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, fun, you meet Rika.
Yes.
Who is in the Dwarf Commoner storyline. And this is something that I think is fucking cool. Everything in almost everything in the prologue melds together on like there is something from every run that relates to a different run. So in the Dwarf Commoner, you have a sister, who's called Rika. And she is talking about how she's like met this noble and then that's her way out of being like a commoner, and that's really exciting to her. And in the dwarf noble, you meet her, but you only can speak to like a few words to her because she's like in your brother's room. Your brother is the person that she is like shacking up with.
She's like, I'm so sorry, I'm in here. We will meet her again.
I'm so sure we will.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
All right, so you did the proving, I did the proving. You kept the helm, I gave it away to, as you said, that traitor.
That awful man.
So we'll get to that because there's beef with your brothers. One of your brothers is set to take over the throne, and the other one is like less hostile to you about it. And you find out that like your brother who's going to take over the throne is thinking that people might like you a little too much and that people may suggest you for the throne, which we're then told has some backstory. So despite the fact that Orzammar is operating in a misogynist way, there have been women on the throne before. In extreme circumstances, they've been elevated to paragonhood, which this is sort of like there's like a religious aspect to leadership in Orzammar. You're like, it's linked. So then your brother, who is pissed at you for being so well liked.
Trian is the one who
ornery and who is supposed to be king.
Yeah.
And then your other brother, who is
I didn't write down the name, unfortunately.
I'm gonna find it because it's important.
Let me see if I
can.
Balin,
who's very important. So Balin's really nice to you, but then you go to do your journey in the deep roads, and you're fighting your way through Dorkspawn, and you're having a grand old time, and you're doing great. You're kicking ass, and then you find your Trian dead.
Well, originally, your other brother, not Trian, said that Trian was going to ambush you, was going to betray and ambush you.
Yeah.
Did you say that? I missed
but
if
then
you did say that.
Find him dead instead. And then Balin shows up with your dad and is like, look what she did.
Fucking ass.
Yeah.
I was so mad because I was like, hell yeah, me and my brother. Yeah, I knew he needed something because I questioned him on it, because you can be like, well, what's in this for you? Why are you telling me this? And he gives a pretty good cover story of like, well, I mean, if he goes on the throne, like, I'm just going to be next. He obviously doesn't like me either. And I'm like, I guess so, buddy. I guess so, buckaroo.
Yeah.
And then he fucking tries to kill you.
I just assumed that my brother loved me. I was like, oh, my brother loves me and doesn't want me dead because I'm so well liked, because I did the proving. And I talked to the merchants. And I stood up. Did you stand up for the surfacers, by the way, when you accepted your new role?
So, Pastry, all right. Pastry in this, she is the game.
Yeah.
She is the game. Mm-hmm. Like, she was a warrior. She grew up, in this royalty, and she's like, because it opens with the dwarven politic game is being played 100% of the time, always, and you're like never safe from it. Everyone is fucking each other over, and everyone is backstabbing everyone. It doesn't matter. So I was like, okay, she plays the game. So when the guy was like, "Hey, please do this for me," please help these like surface dwelling dwarves like be allowed back in. Spoke to another lady, and she was like, yeah, he just wants you to do that because he's like part of the Merchants Guild and he's going to lose a lot of money, but you will lose a lot of public like adoration. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want that then. Fuck these guys. So I fucked him over. I told him that I was going to help him.
And then you didn't?
And then
Oh, no wonder you got assassinated.
I didn't, though. I'm still alive.
You're but so then you get set up by your brother, blamed for your other brother's death, and now Balin's sitting pretty for the throne because now your dad's so stressed out that he has a heart attack and like is bedridden. So now you're locked up and you're sentenced to go to the deep roads till death, which is how dwarves do their sentences, basically.
Awesome. So cool.
Yeah. Just go into the deep roads and fight until you can't fight anymore.
I did get minor PTSD from being in the deep roads for any length of time.
Yeah.
From, it's like the only thing I really remember from my previous Origins playthrough is how much I fucking despised these roads.
The deep roads is... We're going to have to support each other through the deep roads. It's gonna... yeah. But then you're locked up and Gorham comes to visit you. I don't know what your Gorham relationship is at this point, but we're
friends.
Lovers. And so he's like, come find me. They're sending me to the surface. Like, if you survive, I'll be there. And I'm like, I love you. And then we make out through the bars of my enclosure. And
so cute.
So cute. And so then I go to the deep roads and I'm killing folks but Gorham does tell me that Duncan is going to be there and that I should look for Duncan and maybe find a way out. So then I do. I'm like almost dying from the Darkspawn, and then I find Duncan and I'm like, now what was because Duncan, when you find him, he's like, would you like to be a Grey Warden? And you can either like be really into the idea or you could like need some cajoling to do this. What was your approach?
This was my 8th out of 8th playthrough on the prologue, so I was like, yeah, fuck it. Because if I was also like Pastry has been playing the game her whole life. She played it pretty well. And then just became castless and got completely like exiled, and she was like, fuck it, I don't care, just take me. It just literally doesn't matter to me anymore.
That's so interesting that's how you're interpreting that, because I was like, yeah, hell yeah, there's a war to fight and I'm a warrior. I'm going to join the
Grey
Wardens, Jesus. But what also, when I first met Duncan and he was like, I'm a Grey Warden and we need Grey Wardens, I was like, I could be a Grey Warden. And he was like, you are royalty in Orzammar, you should stay here.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, damn it. So I was like, I'm taking
you
it.
already wanted
I already wanted to be, because that's where, like, it's like we learn from our perspective that the dwarks,
that's us, baby. We're the dwarks.
The Darkspawn threat in the deep roads has gotten less bad. And we are like, the dwarves have been thinking that the Darkspawn have been like just retreating and we're in unprecedented times of peace. But we learn from Duncan's presence that the only reason they're retreating in the deep roads is because they're on the surface waging a war against everybody else in the world. And some dwarves are like, good. But I am like, well, so that means that's where our duty is. If the duty of the dwarves is to fight off the Darkspawn, and they're up there terrorizing the world, that's where our duty calls us. And so I'm going. And like, beautiful. I'm head of this army and I'm going to go there. So I'm jazzed to be a Grey Warden. And then we get taken to Ostagar.
Yeah.
How is Ostagar going for you?
Well, I will say, I'll state that the origin that I chose again is, so this is, unfortunately, I did call them Robin, but I wasn't using the name Robin at the time. Well, because you have a fun, cool name, and mine is my name.
Robin's a great name.
I know, it's
very whimsical and fantastical.
There you go.
Just like you.
Thank you. I was like shifting them to be called Quinton or Quinn for short, because when we were going to play the Dragon Age TTRPG, I also used this character who was a blood mage, because I find it so interesting as a topic of conversation, is someone being like, well, do bad people turn into blood mages, or do...
Babe, which character are you doing
that's
this podcast about?
No, I'm doing it about the blood mage. So, it's the
Words
blood
about
mage.
them, then?
Oh my god. Get off my ass. I did every run of this fucking prequel game of your shitty little game.
You for homework. That's so great.
I did extracurricular work, and I should be praised for that. So I did my blood mage, who obviously isn't blood mage yet. Because I picked up the I picked up the game a few months ago, but then it kept crashing in this exact zone, and I was like, oh fuck it, I can't be bothered. However, you'll be glad to know that I worked past the crashing, and now I'm just hanging out playing the game. I think that my warden is like is curious to the point of pure hubris, where they will get themselves fucked over just by like wondering how something works, because magic in the Dragon Age universe is so like it's they literally lock anyone with magical prowess in towers, and if someone can't control their magic, they get
lobotomy.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to play someone who is so feral, wildly anti-Templar, but is essentially trying to prove that you don't have to be evil to be like blood magic is fine. Because there's a place called Tevinter in the Dragon Age universe, and the blood magic is just a thing there, right?
People don't really care. There. They love it. In fact, it's like that's like the only way that you're a respected mage is if you do that. Yeah.
So there you go. And I think I think my warden is doing that, where they're like, people aren't listening to the people in Tevinter, so I'm just gonna fucking show them, and I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna show everyone that blood magic is fine and actually doesn't matter.
That's how every blood mage NPC they're like, I'll show them.
I know, baby.
I'll show them.
And I love it. I am here for a corruption arc. Like, I might start making some wildly bad decisions later on because I'm just having them be slowly corrupted by blood magic. So they are also an elf as well, because I thought how many people can I get to be mean to me off the bat? So I was like, I'm going to be an elven blood mage, and that's going to make everyone immediately hostile, and I'll prove them all wrong.
Delicious.
I didn't pick a lady, unfortunately, which I know would be truly the slam dunk triple whammy of people being dickheads, if I was a female elven blood mage.
Yeah, that's the triple. That's the triple whammy in this world. We ummed in unison. I like that.
We did. Oh my god, we're soulmates.
I know.
So, do you want to talk about the place where we... Ozamar, you called it?
Ostagar. When we go after we get recruited into the Grey Wardens, and that's where Duncan brings us. Before we do the joining, which is the ritual that we're told is going to initiate us into the Grey Wardens itself, we have some stuff that we can do. We can explore. And we also have to go into the Kakari Wilds and get some resources that we need for the joining, including Darkspawn blood, which should be a clue to us all. Somehow isn't. And then I believe we need some plant of some kind.
Yes.
And then there's other things. If we explore the camp, we can gather up some other we need for the Grey Warden task specifically, we need Darkspawn blood, and we need the Grey Warden treaties, which are what's going to help us recruit more Grey Wardens to the fight against this blight. A blight, listeners, is when an archdemon rises, takes control of all the Darkspawn, and wages war on all living things. They do that by infecting them with the blight, which is called having the taint. So
Great.
just getting that out of the way. Those are some definitions. Then walking around this camp, you can talk to people and meet people and find some other things that you need, including a sick Mabari hound, which are like very, very intelligent dogs that understand speech and can like be trained to be warriors alongside mortals. But this one's sick and it needs a special plant in order for it to survive. So that's one thing.
I got that. Did you get that?
Yes.
Hell yeah. You also, in this opening little section, you meet 3 companion characters who will stick with you throughout the whole game. Because you meet Alistair.
Yep.
You meet Morrigan.
Yep.
In the Kakari Wilds. And you meet Wynn.
Yes, you do.
Right?
Yes, you do. You meet Wynn very briefly. Yep.
Wynn, who is like rallying everyone.
Yeah.
She is another mage, but
Wynn
a nice lady.
Is such a nice lady. Wynn is very funny to me. Because Wynn is hang on.
What's
I
up?
need to have this. You need to
have your documents.
I need to have my documents because this is very funny to me, I think. Okay, so Wynn is a mage that you meet. She's already like signed up to help the Grey Wardens. She's like leading a bunch of mages. She like was so loved by the mages and by the circle, and she loves the circle. She thinks the circle is totally a good thing. And
She loves the idea of the circle.
she loves the circle. She thinks that the circle is good. She's very like lawful.
Yeah.
And so okay, so she's also supposed to be very old. And she was born in, let's see, I think it's 881 or 82.
Okay. So she's like 49.
So she's not even 50.
Wow.
The game treats her like she is ancient.
She looks like she's mid-70s. Like, she looks so old. She is younger than my mum. That's insane.
She's so young. Yeah. So I just think that that's funny that she's like not even 50.
Jesus.
Very fun. Very fun. Thank you, Dragon Age, for the extra misogyny. So, so you meet Wynn. You do meet Morrigan, who is a witch of the wilds, which is a sort of like derogatory term for magic users who are like living outside of all of the available conventional ways that mages live, which there are 2 acceptable ways for a mage to live. It's in the circle or as keeper of an elven clan. Those are basically the 2 ways that a mage is like acceptably able to operate. And these like Witch of the Wilds are considered dangerous because they are living with no rules or boundaries, and they're not held to any of these man-made restrictions. And Morgan and her mother are 2 examples of that. And you meet them.
I like them. And Morgan is like the romance, the like the most popular romance as far as I'm aware, because everyone who I meet is like, oh my god, I romanced Morgan instantly.
She's
without question.
I know those people are liars because it's incredibly difficult to romance her. She is the hardest romance to pull off in the game. So somebody's lying. On the other hand,
I'm sure a few of them did. I actually know that one person loved them, who I used to work with, and they kept talking about how how into them they were, and then did come in one day and was like, yeah, Morrigan fully bounced and left me all alone.
Yep.
Which I think was very... But yeah, how they got super into Dragon Age just at some point while we were working together, like in like 2018, which I think is genuinely one of the first times I ever heard about Dragon Age.
Really?
Yeah, back in 2018. Which is actually, that is not necessarily true. It kind of is, because I was really into Mass Effect. And in Mass Effect 2, you can get Dragon Age-themed armor. So that was the first time I heard about Dragon Age, and I didn't know anything else about it.
There are a couple of Mass Effect
references and bits
in Dragon Age, because they are in the same universe, just in different time periods.
Love that.
Mass Effect is far, far in the future.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
That would be a cool thing. Yeah. If we end up finishing all of the Dragon Ages, is going through all the Mass Effects.
I actually haven't done any Mass Effects.
And I have, so that would be a fun twist on the formula. But I've only done them like 2 times. I haven't done them a million.
Yeah.
So it's a little different. Anyway. Morrigan is hard to romance. Was
really
the last bit I caught.
And then we meet Alistair, who is a little dumb boy.
He is a little dumb boy.
And he's already a Grey Warden, and he's so happy to have you. He's so excited that you're joining the Grey Wardens. And he comes with you on your little adventure to the Kakari Wilds, where you need to get your things to be a Grey Warden with your other recruits. So there are other guys, 2 other guys that are signing up to be a Grey Warden with you. And they both have really bad hair. And
which is just Dragon Age, though. No one has good hair in this game.
It's true. And bad attitudes, which is, not default. That's on them.
Yeah. Again, I'm playing an elven mage, so I couldn't tell. I just thought that's what everyone's like.
That's what everyone is. And so then, so, gosh. So now you've met Alistair, puppy dog, golden retriever, energy, a little bit dumb, loves the Grey Wardens, loves you. Oh, other big world building stuff. You meet King Kalen.
Yeah.
And you meet
my boy. Love him.
Love King Kalen. I love King Kalen. And then you meet
you meet the guy. He begins with F. I remember that. Let me have a look.
You Google it this time.
Yeah, I'll
Google
Google it.
Can't believe it's infuriating me, because I have so much beef with this character, and for some reason his name is escaping me.
It's because you have so much beef with him that
I
has...
erased him from
you deleted him from your mind.
From my mind lore. Yeah. From the wiki of my thoughts.
Logain.
Definitely.
I don't know why I thought it began with an F.
Yeah,
right?
The F is silent. Flogain.
Flogain.
So Logain, who is like second in command to King Kalen and hates everything about King Kalen so much. Hates him so clearly. We've never seen anybody hate another person quite like Logain hates King Kalen. And King Kalen's number 1 crime against humanity is that he wants to be on the battlefield with his men fighting on the front lines against the Darkspawn.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, that's crazy.
It's fucking great. I love my boy. He has, I can't remember, but he has "I'm gonna die" written on every inch of his skin.
All over him.
Everywhere. He has "I'm going to die in this big fight" that we're literally just about to do.
Yeah.
But I love him. He's cool. But that's the reason why I know that he's going to die, is because he's nice and cool. So it's like, you're done, dude. Sauce.
You're so done. You're so very cooked.
A respectful person in my Dragon Age, kill him. Kill him now. He's
kill
dead.
him immediately.
Get the fuck out of here.
And he's super respectful of you. I don't know. So like, he's like, no matter what origin you are, like, if you are like a dwarf or an elf or whatever, like, and you meet him, he's always just like, I'm so glad to have, like, he like makes a comment like that he's so glad to have.
Yeah, he's so glad that
here.
you came specifically for the Dwarven Noble, because that's the one I
Yeah.
continued on with. Yeah, he's like, I'm so glad that I'm honored that you came from the underground up to here. That's means a lot.
And I do think he also makes a comment, if you're a woman, that like he's really glad to have like a woman fighting by his side. You know, like he makes a comment.
That's a guy raised by his mum.
Yeah, that's a guy raised by his mum, and Logain is a guy raised by nobody but a pack of wild dogs.
But the wild dogs are all men.
He's
and they
a man
suck.
that was never socialized.
I could have sworn that Logain was played by Tim Curry. I could have sworn he was played by Tim Curry.
Someone in this game is played by Tim Curry. It's not Logain.
Yes. No,
it's someone we will be meeting later, and he's delightful.
Oh, love that. He's clearly very evil. Well, actually, because we meet him in the Human Noble line, right?
Oh, that's right. You do meet him in Human Noble.
We meet him so briefly in the Human Noble.
I did that one once and was like, okay, never. That's almost as disinteresting to me as the mage.
I tell you what, it's. I actually have marked it as pretty good, but because it has a lot of stuff happen and it takes like 20 minutes. It is so fucking short. The Human Noble.
Yeah, it's really
pretty
quick.
cool. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So then you go out into the Kakari Wilds. You've met all these people. You know that there's a big fight coming, and you know you got to join the Grey Wardens beforehand. And you go.
Do we know why we have to join the Grey Wardens at this point?
It is explained to you that you do know beforehand that only a Grey Warden can kill an archdemon.
Okay.
And that being a Grey Warden gives you advantages against the Darkspawn. You know that because Duncan basically tells it to you in almost every origin.
Sure.
But he doesn't tell you why. And that's a big question. It's a big question with a big answer. And then when you go out and you get your supplies, and then you're like, okay, it's time for the joining. And you're like, hey, by the way, what's a joining? And they're like, ha 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 ha, don't ask questions. They're like, just drink from this cup. By the way, you'll probably die. And then you have to drink from this cup.
Well, and then one guy, God bless him, is like, okay, I don't want to do that then. And then Duncan fucking kills him.
Yeah.
Which is why I held the opinion for a very long time. Duncan is fucking sus, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. Once you know, it's like Fight Club. Once you know, like what
once you know you have to drink blood.
Do you
think that someone has ever become a Grey Warden accidentally by killing a Darkspawn and accidentally drinking its blood, having its blood splash in his mouth?
No, because that's how you become a Darkspawn. You have to specifically do the joining ritual. You don't just drink it. You're being like initiated into the Grey Wardens.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so one guy gets stabbed and dies. Does one person drink it and then die?
Yep.
And then drink it.
And then you are the third person. You have to drink it.
And then you drink it and you wake up and you live.
Which is why this is called the harrowing. This is...
Is that this moment is called the harrowing?
Is it? No,
the harrowing is a mage
The harrowing
thing.
is the mage thing. I said no. But it is harrowing.
It is harrowing,
It is harrowing.
It's harrowing. It might as well be. Yeah.
It's harrowing. It is not the harrowing.
So,
yeah.
Remind me of your character's name? I'm going to officially call my character Quentin, by the way. Just for future. It's named Robin, but I'm going to call them Quentin from now on. Just so it's not Robin and Robin. It's going to be Robin and Quentin.
Good. Mine is Felida Idukin.
So, how did Felida think? Felida, how did they feel about the whole joining thing? Also, did they say the dog? Did they say the dog? A?
Yeah, we saved the dog. We also saved the prisoner.
Ew.
Yep. You gotta. It's blink it, you miss it for the prisoner. You can walk
shit.
right past him, and you'll miss him.
I don't know if I did that.
But I look for him. Yeah, you got to feed him and then try to get him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think because what inspired this show is Dylan and I did Dragon Age Keep, and that was one of the questions in it, I'm pretty sure, is what do you do with the prisoner?
What do you do with the prisoner?
Yeah.
But what I feel about the joining is that I was shook up a little bit. But the thing is that I was going to die in the deep roads yesterday.
Yeah.
So I made it one more day than I should have. And if I succeed at this, it means I get to join the fight against the Blight, which is what dwarves are supposed to be doing anyway. And my weak piece of shit traitor brother is not doing that. And I'm going to be better than him, and I'm going to do it.
Hell yeah. That
So I drank it, no hesitation. And then Alistair wakes me up, and he's like, 4 people died at my joining. And I'm like, dude, you know, like you
These
should
guys
tell
still
people.
died, dude. Yeah.
2 guys died. It sucks. It should be buy-in, you know? But that's all right. You know, this world is pretty misogynistic. Obviously, they haven't learned about informed consent yet. So,
very good.
So we'll get there.
Yeah. Quentin was fine with it.
Yeah.
Because, hey, I think Quentin had no doubts in his mind that he would be fine. It was so, I'm playing up arrogance in this. He's like, yeah, of course I'm going to be fine. Because I am one of the most powerful people that's ever existed. So this is just part of my tale. And
oh, wow.
Pops it.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Because he talked a lot of shit to his friend in the circle. Because he did Blood Mage, but he's a sniveling little, like, wretch. It's like, all right. He did Blood Mage because he's weak and stupid. He didn't do it for the right reasons, which is what I did it for.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is why I'm going to be a Blood Mage. Now, it is important because in the game, there is a bit where you choose to become a Blood Mage, and it is like a very morally dubious choice. Originally, the first time I played this, I was like, no, I've always been a Blood Mage. This is non-canonical. However, I'm changing that to, on this playthrough, he is not a Blood Mage yet, but is so fascinated by the idea of being it that he will do anything to be a Blood Mage.
Yeah, he's searching for it.
Just to prove it, yeah.
Okay.
Prove that he's
Got
fine.
it.
I might also do a little bit of shapeshiftery in there, because that's fun. Oh no, I might do Arcane Warrior, just because it's hot.
Arcane Warrior's hot.
Fucking so sexy. Yeah, I love that shit.
And then it gets hotter later on.
Love that.
I am Rogue.
Cool. I like that.
Knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, I did Rogue. I've done 2 Rogues, actually. My female city elf, it was an archer. And my human noble was... My human noble, since that is... Hey, that's where we caught up to, is we did the joining, and then now that is the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Or the prologue, should we say?
Yeah, prologue.
The prologue of us. However, I have extracurricular things. Because I did all this work, I simply must be fed with more conversation talking to you, Dylan, because I love you so much.
Okay,
so,
I love you.
So,
Don't
human
do
noble
this again.
storyline. Wow, I'm not gonna. It's just because they're all so different. They're all so different that I had to get a well-informed thing of them. Because what if someone's listening and was like, "Aw, Beans, I didn't do the Circle of Magi, and I'm also not a dwarf noble. I can't relate to these two. I'm here to be relatable. You're here to be a dork."
Audience, do not listen to this fucking chucklehead. Your role in this is to also play your own unique character and then dialogue with us. tell us about it and what is different about your choices.
But I couldn't
not to have the exact same story as us.
No, I'm changing I'm changing the story afterward. After this point, I'm exclusively going to play the Blood Mage.
Okay.
However, I needed to know how all of them started, and I'm really glad I did.
Tell me.
Because, as I said before, so much shit crosses over and jumps around, and it's fun. So I don't know how you picture this, but I picture all of this. I also don't know what happens in the story, to be fair, but all of this does actually happen. It's just like, if your character isn't there, then, you know, it ultimately doesn't. Like, then Duncan goes, can't find anyone, and then leaves. Just because there's just a lot of shit that is like. So, for example, Vaylin Kusland, who is my human noble, Tim Curry is in there. That's fun. You are like the youngest son of just a house in, what is it called? It was High Ever. Mm-hmm. In High Ever. Your dad calls you Pup a lot, which I think is very cute.
So cute.
Because I call you Pup, and I think that's fun.
Everyone should call someone Pup because it's so cute. It's such a good nickname.
There is a dog in it. Rules.
A Mabari.
A Mabari.
Yeah.
Now,
Mabari are Ferelden dogs, so this is very important.
They're specifically different.
They're local to Ferelden. And they're different. They're not like wild dogs, and they're smarter they're better. Yeah.
Smarter, and they're just better.
And they're just better.
They're just better. Essentially, your family gets, like, Tim Curry betrays your family in it because he goes to visit and is like, oh yeah, we're all gonna march to this place with Duncan. But my army's late. Oopsie. I guess I'll fucking stay here and hang out for a bit. And then your family's army leaves, and then his army turns up and kills everyone. Both your parents die, as does your. I think everyone fucking dies in this run. But then Duncan at this point when I was playing this, Duncan hadn't won me over yet, because. As your family is dying and bleeding out, he decides to preach to you about how good it is to be a Grey Warden, and I'm like, dude, this is so not the fucking time to do this. My mother is just said that she's gonna sacrifice herself for me, and my dad is dying on the ground. Can you leave the sermon till after we leave, please?
Calm down,
yeah. Your mum fucking owns, though, in this. She's really cool. And then I played Bailey, who is my city elf.
Yep.
After this, harrowing. I have in big words.
Yeah.
This shit,
terrifying.
Fucking sucks, dude.
Terrifying.
Playing
city elves have the worst life in Dragon Age.
Absolutely. The opening, if you like, no joke, if you play a female city elf, you have to go into it. You have to go into it kind of knowing what you're getting into, because it fucking sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, every moment of it is rough. You do meet a guy called Saurus, who is definitely bi, because he said that I was lucky because my husband was hot, but said it in a way that I was like, oh, are you interested in my husband? I love that for me. I have underlined Jesus, it's bleak. Here.
Yep.
You're in Denerim.
Yep.
Which is an important location later.
Yes.
Essentially, so city elf, you a bunch of elves are in like this like slum-esque area.
Yeah.
Elves are no longer slaves in this universe, but they are still second class citizens. Is what the opening says.
They're in slums. They're forcefully in slums.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Notably, on the human noble route, all of your servants are elves. Except for like one of the cooks, who, like the head cook, who isn't, and she is not very nice about the fact that she has elves working with her. So you're an elf in a slum, and you're gonna get married to another elf. Oh, hip hip hooray! How delicious. Oh no, the worst man in the world turns up and decides to be just dreadful to you and every lady that you met along the route. In my run, because I was playing a lady, kills your husband, and then you slaughter every single human that exists in this keep, and it feels great. It's like I went absolutely scorched earth. The art, if you're looking for like, I wonder what the vibes of the City Elf playthrough is. If you just look at the official art for the City Elf origin, it's an elf in a wedding dress holding a very bloody wedding dress holding a bloody sword, and it is cool as hell. It's great art.
Yeah, it's really good.
But holy shit, it's so bleak. The fashion on her wedding dress is atrocious. And then I wrote Duncan is safe because you get back, you like free everyone who can be saved. You save after you slaughter the worst man that's ever existed. You go back to your elf slum, and then the city guard turns up and are like, oh, well, we're gonna fucking kill you, and then probably gonna kill a lot of people here. And then Duncan is like, or, no, you don't do that. And then I take her, and you fuck off and forget that any of this happened. And then he does it because Duncan is cool as shit. And I was
Duncan
like, damn,
so cool.
This guy fucking owns. He like threatens the hell out of this guy, and then you join the Grey Wardens, which I think is truly that is a good way to join the Grey Wardens because you've fucking mutilated everyone, and it's great.
I do. I think that's a great one. I think that that one feels like a really rewarding like way to join the Grey Wardens in a way. Like I feel like that one, it's like, fuck this place. I'm joining the Grey Wardens. I have no reservations about it.
Do you know what sucks about it? Is I spent a hell of a lot of time getting money to get one person to stay, and then everything happened. So there's a side quest where someone needs like a certain amount of money to either go, like, because they're all leaving because they can't afford rent anymore because the humans have kept jacking up the prices.
Yep.
You can either give her 3 silver to go somewhere else, I think, or start a new life somewhere else, or you can give her 10 silver to stay and pay the rent for like a short amount of time. But it sounds like the best option at the time, and then as soon as you do that, as soon as I did that, I started the other quest. I started the full quest, and I was like, oh, hey, hun, leave. Actually, this place is fucking awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a cool opening. And because of the way that worked, and because you're the bride, you get kidnapped in this playthrough. Your husband is slaughtered because he and Soris, who's a friend of yours, break in to get you out. And I was like, I wonder how this goes with a guy. Turns out, very different. It's basically its own origin. Instead, you're knocked out when this super awful dickhead guy comes into town. He still takes a bunch of the women and also your bride, but then just like beats you unconscious. And then you break in. But in this one, your wife lives, whereas in the other one, your husband always dies. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because although as bleak, it's not like you have literally nothing. It's like, well, I just got married to this chick, so I guess I'm just going to stay here. A lot of the same NPCs die, but specifically your wife lives, which I think is fun. Also, I found out that if you consistently antagonize Duncan, he likes you for different reasons. That if you like, so when he turns up, you're like, you just dealt with the worst guy in the world.
Yeah.
And you're like, for fuck's sake, there's another human who's turned up. So you go up to him to be like, hey, can you not cause any fucking trouble and just leave because there's a wedding going on and I don't need this anymore. But then as soon as he starts explaining himself, if you just back off immediately, he's like, you know when to stay your blade and back off. I'm looking for someone like you. But I found out if you just keep antagonizing him, he's like, damn, you don't back down, huh? I like your spirit.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, buddy.
Motherfucker is just hungry for recruits. He will say anything to anyone.
Yeah, because he got 3 people. I don't know why he's being picky about it and being like, I'm looking for the best warriors. It's like, no, you're not. There are 3 guys willing to sign up, and I'm one of them. You will be fucking lucky. I wrote a big fan of how different this one is to the other City Elf. But it is a harrowing story. It's dark. After that, I had I did my Dalish elf, Malian, who I called. Dalish elves are fun because they are elves who just live in the woods. They're just like wood elves.
Yeah.
I think that story is really interesting.
It's really interesting. I like that.
You find like an old ruins, and Darkspawn are coming out of the ruins, which is super super weird. There's written Elvish, and it turns out that written Elvish is a weird thing to see and find at all.
Yes, it is.
Which I think is really interesting.
Yep.
It also, there are statues to ancient elven gods, but the statues were made by people. So and then I think you figure out, or it implies that humans and elves lived just peacefully together, and humans just built like statues to elves, and that was just like a thing because it's like, yeah, we're just good at craftsmanship, so they just did that. And I thought that was really cute and nice. Yeah. And what a fun piece of world building. And this is why I wanted to play through all of them, because the amount of world building that I now am like so in, because I got all these different perspectives. Admittedly, it took me like 7-8 hours, but I got all these different perspectives of all these different like things, and I'm like, now I'm integrated more into the universe of Ferelden. I thought that was fun. You find an old ancient mirror, your friend touches it, and then you wake up and fucking your man is Duncan is like, hey dude, we gotta bounce. And then saves your life. You're back in camp. This is also fun because you get super sick.
Yep.
You get a weird Darkspawn type illness, and Duncan is like, this is another good pull of like an interesting start, because he's like, you have to come with me because you're gonna die, or you can roll the dice and you can die in this way, or you can you'll live and it'll be great. And I thought that was really cool. They also mentioned Tevinter that I thought was fun. There is a mage in the elf camp, which I thought was interesting. In it. It's just great. And then you have a really nice send-off where all the elves kind of... It's cool because the Dalish elf gives you this neat sense of community in it that the others so far haven't really done. I mean, the City Elf one did as well.
I think City Elf gives you a strong community sense.
That's true, but it gives you in different contexts. Like in this, they all send you off in a positive way. Like they all make this like kind of parade, and
that's true.
You know, it's
but
like
nothing good is happening in the City Elf one. They're not going to send you.
So
off
they
in a
don't
parade.
have to. But then there is the wedding, and everyone comes together for the wedding. So and you speak to randoms, and they basically all give you a present, because you're all a big married, like family. And I think that's really cool. That's really neat. Then I did Frodo, who was my common dwarf. So far, my favorite was the City Elf, easy. However, both of the... I know I mentioned this right at the beginning. Both of the dwarf origins are so fucking cool.
They're really good.
Oh my god, they're so good. Yeah. The common dwarf, you're like embroiled in like a crime ring, and you then pretend to be a noble to do a fighting ring, and then you win the fighting ring, and then it's revealed that it's not you, and it's this giant controversy, and they're gonna... It's great. It's so cool. Yeah. It feels so dope. It is a shame if I didn't hate... So I felt claustrophobic being underground for that amount of time that I was like, I don't think I would be I wouldn't fully... Like, I wouldn't enjoy playing a dwarf because I always feel like this... I need the open sky, but that's just me as a human. However, It fucking rules, dude. It's
really good.
crazy. Both of them are really cool. I think Common Dwarf... Actually, no, both of them are about the same, because I fucking loved Noble Dwarf. The betrayal twist story was
It's
so
really good.
cool on
It's
the
so
Noble
strong.
Dwarf. Every dwarf you come across is a gross guy. Your dwarf best friend in the Common Dwarf is like... says, hey, have you ever thought about fucking your sister? And it's weird that he says that to me. That is my sister. Go die.
Yeah.
Your sister, however, is again the girl who's in the Noble, which you know that the guy that she's shacking up with is not a good guy now, and betrays his whole family. And I think that is cool, because I'm like, oh my god, no, my sister is in trouble. Yeah, it's dope. Also, all casteless dwarfs, which is dwarves without noble houses, have a face brand.
Yes.
I also know that. Also had some cool world building with the fact that some of the merchants had face brands, and I asked them about it, and they just said, no, this is fake, I just wash it off at the end of the night. It just means that it's like people are more willing to buy from someone who is, casteless. And I was like, that's crazy that you do that. How dare you say that to my face?
Yeah.
Knowing who I am, fuck you.
Fuck you for saying that. Yeah.
And this is what the trouble is I
What's
really
the trouble?
Because I really want to, I love mages in Dragon Age. I think they're so fucking cool. I love the fact that, especially in this one, from how little I played, it has this whole setup of like, oh yeah, mages we lock in towers because they're way too strong. They're like so powerful. And especially blood magic is like, oh, so bad. But they show you that through the fact that playing a mage in this game means that you're a fucking god. You do so much damage and you kill so many things, and it's great. And blood magic specifically is so powerful. You can you can stop every enemy moving for the whole fight, basically. They just stop and they can't move, and then you get all your other guys to walk in and slaughter them, and then you can set them to explode because you're crazy and a blood mage and it rules. However, the prequel for mage sucks.
It
and
sucks.
It's boring.
It sucks so much.
It's
so
uninteresting.
Boring. Not interesting. I don't even feel like I'm a character in it. Like, I don't even feel like I'm anything.
Yeah, and it's like your reasoning for this is why I didn't like Duncan, is because your reasons for joining the Grey Wardens is nothing. It's like, it's so little. I know that it's like, oh, well, we're gonna punish you, and it's like, yeah, I'm already punished, dude. I'm literally locked in a tower. Like, fuck off. This isn't.
I think,
and it's like, it's just not as compelling.
Though, that you could be at risk of being made tranquil, which is the magical lobotomy that they give people. I think that's implied. I think that's supposed to be the threat there. But I agree with you. I don't think it's very strong. It's not a strong origin.
I then
story.
did, because I didn't understand that it was so I did the DLC Awakening, but then it turns out that the DLC Awakening is 6 months after the story started, so then I immediately cancelled out of it.
Yeah.
But I did make a character for it. Because it's a great the origin is Grey Warden, and I was like, oh my god, that would be interesting if I just started as a Grey Warden, but it's not. It's 6 months after the game ends. For the Circle Magi though, you are a mage. You go through you're in a giant mage tower. You go through this thing called the Harrowing, correct? It's the Harrowing, the mage test.
The Harrowing is your test to see if you can be trusted as a mage, where they send you into the Fade and see if you get corrupted by a demon.
And you do see all the Fades and you see the demon. So lore-wise, it's interesting. It's just, I think, story-wise, it's not that gripping.
O'Brien. Yeah.
You do. He betrays you, which I think is fun.
Yep.
And then you like fight some demons. You go out, and then you have a friend who's like who's getting into blood magic. He's trying to run away with a girl from the Chantry, and then you save them, and then you don't. I mean, you try to save them, and then you get caught, and then you have to be sent to the Grey Ones.
Yeah.
It's a lot of lore, which is interesting, but the problem is that the Dalish elf is also a lot of lore, but it is really fucking interesting. And then it also is like, hey, you're gonna fucking die if you don't do it, and it's like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So it's a shame.
Stakes make more sense. Yeah.
It's just because. So, what's your favorite origin of all the origins?
My favorite is I really do like both the dwarves. I like them a lot. But the Dalish Elf one does win for me.
Dalish Elf one's really
cool. It's the best story, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does, like, it just gives you so much. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I really like it. Anyway, those are all of my notes. I played through all of them just so I could get a real big idea and picture of the world, and I think it does a fucking brilliant job of giving you that initial pitch of the world. Especially if I know it's like no one has played this game like me, where you've played every single Origin.
That is the first time I played it. So did I ever tell you my origin of how I found this
tell
game?
me about it. No, please do.
Okay, it's actually really fun. So this is back in Stripper Dillin days. So I was working at this is like my third or fourth club that I was working at, and it was a club in an industrial park, which is just like, I say that because it was like it's like a place that's like really dead. It's not like a club vibe. It's really quiet, but then like people come in and they drop like $300 and then they leave. So I was there one day and it was super, super dead. Like no one was coming through the door. And I'm just like sitting at the bar. Everyone working there is like sitting at the bar, like just, looking at their phones or whatever. And this girl who I like had talked to maybe a few times, but didn't really know that well, came up to me and said, and I like will never forget this as long as I live, said, "You look like you're into elves and shit." And I was like, fucking scene. Yes, you're so spot on. I'm so into elves and shit. What do you mean? And she was like, well, if you want to play hooky with me, because I have a video game that you should play.
Wow.
And she had an ulterior motive. She wanted to do laundry at my place, which I respect. But I don't care. Hustle. So we snuck out of work. We scooped all her laundry into my car. We stopped by a liquor store, bought a big chunky bottle of wine, and we went back to my apartment. She did all her laundry, and she sat me down, put in Dragon Age Origins into the Xbox, and was like, play every single Origin. And she watched me play every single Origin until I picked my favorite, which I think was my favorite the first time around was the Dwarven Noble. No, that was my first.
Oh, now you're going back to your
I'm going back to my roots because I've never done it again since until now.
Huge. Yeah. I'm stoked for you. And because that when I say it's a shame, because that's what I mean. I would love to see how that storyline plays out, and like going back to like confront your just how is that not the coolest thing in the world?
Yeah.
And it's a shame because the story I want from it, I know a little bit about Dragon Age 2 because again we did keep, and because of that, I think it'll be really interesting if I've continued this run of being like a blood mage.
No, I think you should. I think that's the right thing to do.
I had so much fun with it the first time I played it. I also have it set to easy because I cannot be bothered. I don't like the combat in the game. And I want to just experience the story. And I can experience everything if I'm not worried about fucking dying all the time.
Yeah, it's fine. You'll still die. These games are...
Will I?
Yeah.
Will I? Gamer? Maybe I'm a really tough alpha man, and I'll be fine.
We're playing Dragon Age Origins. Okay.
Jesus. Damn. So.
Yeah.
So, do you have any exterior notes? I've done all my notes now.
Yeah.
Any additional notes before you tell us where Chapter 2 is, where our next episode is leading us?
No. No. My notes are that I don't like Morgan. I think that...
Full stop?
Yeah. My character does not like Morgan.
Oh, your character? Or you, Dillin, don't like Morgan?
No. I love Morgan, obviously.
There you go. That's why I said crazy. Because,
yeah. No, my character does not like Morgan. And is just really
I think my character fucking loves Morrigan, actually, because she is
obviously
she's a mage who's living on the outskirts of
and
the
just
thing.
doing
It's
whatever she wants. Yeah, of course.
Love that. Huge.
Yeah. My thing is that I just everyone who can get on board with the fact that we are here to end this blight is fine. And like that's the most important thing, because I'm here to be the best dwarf that's ever lived.
Oh, that's fucking sick.
And do what we were meant to do, which is kill Darkspawn. That's our whole thing.
Your whole thing. Yeah.
So our next assignment.
I'm excited for it.
We're going to Lothering.
Okay.
So this is not included in the the pathway to getting the treaties. This is our first stop. It's our first city. There's no one here to make a deal with, but it is a lot of world building. It's a little bit of like setting the stage for what is to come. You're and so basically you're going to go to Lothering, and whatever you get done by the time you leave Lothering, because when you leave Lothering is locked. I'll tell you that. So this is just go into Lothering, and when you leave is when it's done.
Perfect. I have go to Lothering and finish it in quotation marks.
Finish it in quotations. Yep. And that's it. And then we will reconvene.
I will say, how long do you think that'll take us? Because we're recording once every 2 weeks.
We should do more than that.
There you go.
Yep. This will take me a day.
So, do you want to... Okay. Do we, right now, in our blue sky stage of recording this, because we have to do Origins 2 and Inquisition before the Veilgaurd drops, which is, like, mid-next year, right?
Yeah.
And...
There are
that's
other
huge amount of time
that are going to be longer milestones.
Okay, but this specific one
is really just one like area of the map that is only going to take you like you're going to finish it in one sitting, is what I'm saying.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
All right. If anyone is listening and they're like also playing along, please fucking tell us everything about your character. I want to know. What's your origin? What is your thing? Have you, personally, if you're listening, have you played Dragon Age Origins before, or are you joining us for this journey for the first time? Because that's what I'm excited about as well. I'm excited for people picking it up and having no knowledge, and then we are just doing a book club right now. Because I think... Hashtag Dorkspawn, baby.
Dorkspawn.
Speaking of... Do you want to do a social? Do you want to just say where you are? I'll say where I am, and then we'll say goodbye. We need a catchy end.
A catchy end?
And it is on your head to make
me?
It up right now. Because I did the opening of I am Robin, I've never played Dragon Age, and you are Dillin, and you are obsessed with Dragon Age. So you have to think of the end, which is a harder job, and I just dropped it on you now.
Okay. I am Dillin. You can find me everywhere online at Super Dillin, which is SUPERDILLIN.
Nice. He's never done that before, by the way.
I have realized that no one knows how to spell my name because I decided to spell it stupid.
Okay.
And so you now know that that's how you spell it, and you can find me literally everywhere. I make 1 million podcasts now. That's what I do. And by the time you hear this one, I could have created 4 more. Usually with this guy sitting across from me. Yeah, that's it. Listen to The Atomless. Listen to everything that Patchwork Productions does, and
which so far is this and The Atomless.
This and The Atomless. There will be more. And listen to One Shot, where I play a different RPG every month with a bunch of new people.
Yeah.
I will also say, I think that these episodes, this is our first one. I think future episodes will probably be a little shorter because we did have to talk about our whole introduction to the game. I think.
Yes, and then I also did every
and then you
single
did
prologue.
extra stuff because
I thought this episode would be too short.
Yeah.
I just want you to love me, and I hate the fact you hate me.
I love you so much. That's the weirdest thing you've ever said. Okay, introduce yourself.
Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. My name is Robin. I am Captain Krail on all things. CAPTAINKRAIL. Never had to spell that before. Captain Krail on all things. No, I have to because I'm stalling for time for you to figure out what the Oh, damn. Captain Krail on all things. I probably I'm going to be honest. I probably will get back into streaming, and I will be streaming the chapter runs of the Dragon Age Origins. Maybe I won't. But I do GM the Atomless, and I also GM a few other things. I mainly do all my stuff with Dillin. If you want to know what that is all about, fucking go on Twitter. All right, nice. Dill.
So,
what is it?
Grey Wardens, which you all now are, because you have finished your first joining ritual. Always remember, in war, victory. In peace, vigilance. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Love it, dude. Love it, baby. Let's go, dude. That's sick as hell. Ugh.